Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This is another episode of your favorite podcast, Coffee and Contemplation. If you can't get past that, then get the fuck out of here. I'm your host, Old Heart, aka Jared, aka Dr. Don't Give a Fuck. I am once again sitting down here with a cup of cold brew coffee, aka Olympia Moonshine, aka Delicioso, Nutricioso. Either way, so yes, I am sitting down here, and we are going to be talking about something today on this podcast, which is called Coffee and Contemplation. Again, thank you for listening if you are a listener. If not, well, suck eggs. Today, we are talking about customer service. Imagine that. Yes, yuck it the fuck up. Kudos all around. A round of applause for anybody out there. You might have guessed that, mainly because the title says Customer Service Life Part 3, but also because I told you just a little bit ago. So I found the really somewhat stimulating, thought-wise at least stimulating website, a list, more or less, on Thrillist.com. Shocker there. It was titled 35 Things Restaurant Servers Do Wrong. So first off, this is very particular. Some of these are very particular to restaurant servers. Some of them are just can be applied to food industry customer service in general. And that's usually the customer service I'm talking about on this podcast, particular series, is particularly customer service when it pertains to the food industry, like being in a restaurant or a cafe or anywhere else you gotta watch people shovel food or drink in their gullet. That being said, very necessary parts of society. So 35 things not to do in a fucking restaurant. Number 1, leave food in the window. Obviously, if you ever served a table, you don't want to leave that food sitting. If you've ever even thought about your own food, if you ever you leave your own food at home sitting, it gets fucking cold instantly. Easy, don't. But very specific to restaurants, really. Well, I guess you could apply that to a cafe. So it's hard to to watch drinks sit. I was just working with my man Avi. Shout out to Avi. When we were just talking about how it's a shame to watch cappuccinos sit when the person just doesn't come to pick it up. You call it out, and it's such a beautiful drink. A good cappuccino is such a beautiful drink. This nice little, beautiful glossy dome of foam right on top of that little 6-ounce pour. Yeah. Mwah, like a rich marinara. It's so delicious. But when you watch, it's literally just so it's like somebody forgets that they order a drink or something, and you're just like, shit, I got cappuccino at the bar, and you try and yell it as loud as possible without being offensive, and that's the thing, calling out drinks, calling out ticket orders, calling out food for people. If a restaurant is a come up to the counter and get it kind of place, is fucking crazy. You don't want to sound aggressive. You don't want to sound like you're actually yelling, but you have to project your voice so perfectly and loudly in just a way that it gets their attention, because most people just act like they came in here and gave you money for no reason, and they just go sit down fuck all, I forgot I got something, and then their $7 drink is just garbage. Anyway, moving on. Don't use a cell phone. Well, obviously, that can be applied to any service job. Don't use a cell phone on the floor. It looks tacky as fuck. Like, I'm just saying that right now. I hate part of my gig right now is being available by phone, especially cell phone. And so I have to have it in like my back pocket or something, or like in my apron pocket. And that alone is weird to me. Like, I don't like that because it already makes you sort of want to like look at it, but you really shouldn't. It's like I said, it looks tacky as fuck. I know people who just like bust out their phones in the middle of like other people working, and it's like, how do you think that looks all right? Like, it doesn't. Save your cell phone shit for like whatever time. Save it for like the back room. Save it for like the fucking dish pit, man. But just like, don't do it on the floor. It looks tacky as fuck. Don't forget small details. Well, guess what? Everybody's human, man. I disagree with that. Like, small details, although it is part of a server's job to remember specific details, or a waiter's job, server, whatever, food personnel, you are supposed to remember details about shit, but you know what, like, it happens, and humans happen, and especially if it's something like, oh, I forgot that you wanted this condiment, let me go get it for you real quick. That's easy, just easy. It's a little more complicated when it comes to like drinks or something, because it's like, oh shit, I totally forgot to mix that into your drink, which usually needs to happen. Or if it's like a specific thing with like a food dish, like you didn't want cheese on there. Like one time, shout outs to anybody listening out there, obviously. Shout outs to all my friends and family for always putting up with my shit, I guess. Shout outs to me, I'm awesome. Also, go out there and find us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio. It's also the name to look up on Spotify, iTunes, or I think iHeartRadio, but I don't care about that one. Also, follow us on Twitter, Old Heart in Space. And back to customer service. So customer service, don't forget the small details. Try not to, as best as you can, man, but fucking humans happen. Don't leave empty glasses on the table. That's very specific if you're working in a restaurant. But kind of if you're like working in the cafe, like if there's obviously some dickhead who forgot to read the little sign on their table that says please put dishes in the dish window or whatever, then just go pick them up. It's not your position to be like to get mad about it. It's not your position to be like to throw a fucking fit and wait for somebody else to do it. It just looks shitty, and will probably cost you tip money if you don't just go clear the table and wipe it down. And also, you have to think about it from a customer's perspective. Like if you walked into a restaurant and you saw like multiple tables with like even a handful of dishes, just like a handful of dishes out on the floor, and you saw some people like, doing stuff behind the bar, doing stuff behind the counter, but it doesn't look like urgent, there's no urgency in anybody's step, like they probably are just neglecting checking out the floor. That's real. Floor checks are key in every fucking food facility. Like, that's just it, man. Like, always check the floor. This is actually like a weirdly specific one, but I like it a lot. Don't use a glass to shovel ice. Any dumb fuck who's ever worked like their first day or two, I'd say, in a restaurant, has used like a pint glass to try and shovel some ice. And you get away with it once or twice. I will give you that, my friends. You get away with it once or twice. But when you make the mistake of doing that and it fucking breaks off into the ice, then you're the asshole that has to empty the ice machine, clean the ice machine, clean up the broken glass, and then fill it back up. And that's a lot of shit to do when you're dealing with the angry wolves that are a fucking brunch crowd, man. Especially those 9 to 10ers. The 9 to 10ers are especially vicious. They don't get up too early. The early crowd usually are pretty chill because it's like 1 or 2 of them. Sometimes it's 17 of them, but fuck that. The 9 to 10ers are like the ones who are like, they got like one of those assholes rallied everybody else to get up. The rest of them don't want to be up, but they're there anyway. And then there's the one guy who's like, all his expectations are super fucking high. And he's like, if you fuck this up, I'm not going to give you a tip. Those are the 9 to 10ers. The brunch crowd's fucking weak. I hate it. And I mean weak by like, I don't like them. They're very angry and very, very potent though, especially here in Olympia. Don't forget silverware. Well, shit happens. Don't give incorrect information. Yes, don't do that. Don't be afraid to write things down. That's a great one. Don't be afraid. And this goes for like if you're just typing it into a screen, sending the order down, or if you're writing it to like have it on the receipt to be sent back to the kitchen, or if you're just writing it at the table to make sure that you have all the details. Don't be afraid to write shit down, because if you write it down, you probably won't forget it. But if you just try to wing it all the time, not everybody is a steel trap minded. People that work in the restaurant and food industry usually are smoking weed, drinking heavily, and smoking cigarettes, and so they're not all fucking there most of the time. And I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that as a standard. A lot of people in the restaurant and food industry, they know how to hang. So they're not all there, and not knocking it, but like a lot of people do have really good fucking minds, especially people that have been waiting tables for a long time. They have really strong memories. But if you don't be afraid to write it down. Always try to repeat the order back to customers. It's crucial at the register. It's crucial when you drop food off. It's crucial because it lets them know that you know their order, and it also lets you know their order, and it lets everybody know that it's good. Also, if somebody actually spit in the food, don't remember just to leave that out when you drop it on the table. Be like, hey, I got you your tamales with red enchilada sauce on the side, no sour cream, and sans spit. God damn it, that wasn't funny. Whatever, keep it in. Don't call in sick and then Instagram yourself swimming at the fucking pool. That's a modern one. Yeah, don't call in sick and then let it out to your coworkers in any way, especially on social media, that you're out doing something else other than shitting your fucking dinner right out your ass. And maybe vomit, but throw some vomiting in there too. I don't know. Don't be afraid to engage the customer. Don't wait for the customer to always engage you. That's kind of a big life one that I've just realized. I've gathered over time. A lot of customers walk in and they don't know what they're fucking doing necessarily in your establishment. They want some guidance. They want to be told, not necessarily forcefully told, but they want to be guided. Like I said, it's, hey folks, what can I do for you? Come on down here. Give them a friendly wave or something, let them know hey, I see you right there. I'll get you seated at that 3 top table in just a moment. Just give me 5 seconds. Acknowledge the customer. Don't be afraid of them. I disagree with this one, but it says be invisible. I don't think you need to be invisible. I think you need to be an established presence, but a welcome, friendly presence. Either way, these have been some random customer service tidbits. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. Not all of these specifically apply to everything, and these are not obviously all the rules that you need to know. And there are not a book full of rules, although there should be somewhere. Either way, go out there, use your brains for good, kids, because every day is a good day to ripen up that coconut. And